My name is Choi-Jin Park. I'm the staff attorney for the Korean American Voters Council. I'm the MC of this tonight's event. Thank you all of you for coming to this historic event to support Comfort Women and Holocaust survivors and the thousands Wednesday protest in Seoul, Korea. First, I would like to introduce Dr. Arthur Flug, who is Executive Director of Kafferberg Holocaust Center, for call to order. Dr. Flug.
Thank you, Choi-Jin, and welcome to all of you this evening for coming to this most unusual, what will prove to be a historic event. Tonight is a night where you really will get to see how education will have a most positive impact on the human condition and on social justice. Less than a year ago, Choi-Jin Park and Dong-Suk Kim came to my office with an idea. And their idea was that they wanted to know if we could help them with a program, and the specific program they were interested in doing was something regarding the comfort women. They said the comfort women are getting older and no longer will be around, and we are afraid that what happened to them will be forgotten. It was exactly like the program we have with our Holocaust survivors, where we have a commitment to them that what took place and what happened to them during World War II will not be forgotten. And what we did was we got together a group of very, very talented artists, and I'd like them to stand up, please, because they're right here to be acknowledged. One just flew in from Texas this afternoon, and we put together an art exhibit that has had an amazing impact. Whenever someone comes to the Holocaust Center, we don't let them just wander around. They are given a tour by one of our staff members. And on this particular exhibit, people have absolutely been stunned. People were saying, I never knew this happened. How come I didn't know about it? How could this possibly have happened? And on more than one occasion, people have walked out crying. And we're here tonight to make that commitment to these young women who've flown in from Korea to be with us tonight. I thank you for coming here, and now it's my great privilege to introduce Dr. Diane Cole, President of Queensborough Community College.
Thank you very much, and welcome to our very special guests. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. This is an issue of justice denied. Like our Holocaust survivors, these women, these courageous women, are not afraid to die, but they are afraid that their story will be forgotten. This past year, the Kupferberg Holocaust Resource Center and the Korean American Voters Council partnered to bring together women from a similar generation, from opposite sides of the world, who experienced horrors, atrocities. And I think it's important for our students and our community to learn about this, to be educated about this. The Holocaust survivors who are with us tonight are here in solidarity with the two Korean women who have come from South Korea, thousands of miles away, so that they can share their stories. And it's our hope that this event, more people will hear the truth, the history that should never, ever be forgotten. And hopefully, these women will be offered some small measure of the justice they deserve. I thank you because their voices are the ones we want to hear tonight. And again, many thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Dr. Cole. Now it's time for their stories. At this time, we will share Comfort Women survivors' stories and Holocaust survivors' story. First, we will start with a Comfort Woman survivors' story. Should you have any questions about their testimony, please ask the questions when we have a second session at the Holocaust Center. After this session, we will move back to Holocaust Center. At that time, you may have some time to personally ask some questions to them. Comfort Woman survivors' testimony will be interpreted by Ms. Hyun-Jung Kim, who is from Los Angeles. She is a professional simultaneous interpreter, and then she took off this whole week, to volunteer for this event. Please give her a big hand. And our Korean American Voters Council's intern, Mr. Ji Sung Park, who is a high school student, will introduce Comfort Woman survivors. Please welcome Mr. Park. Where is Ji Sung Park? I'm so sorry, it's Mr. Kim.
Yeah. Okay. So, good evening. My name is Ji Sung Kim. I'm currently a high school sophomore at the Bergen County Academies. I am here today with my esteemed colleagues and friends from the Korean American Voters Council. Tonight, it is my honor and pleasure to welcome one woman who has exhibited outstanding courage. She was once labeled as a comfort woman by the Japanese government and faced sexual and physical abuse. She was born in 1929 in Gyeongdong, in the city of Daegu, and was named Miss Yong Soo Lee. In 1944, when she was 15 years old, Miss Lee was taken by the Japanese government and sent to a comfort station in Taiwan. At the comfort station, Miss Lee was forced to sexually satisfy Japanese soldiers, enduring inhumane abuse and cruelty. After the war ended, Miss Lee returned to her home in Daegu in 1946. Miss Lee lived alone in silence for 44 years until 1994, when she felt empowered by the public protests by her fellow comfort women. She has attended the weekly Wednesday rally protests for 17 years without cease, demanding an apology, the punishment of the perpetrators, and legal compensation from the Japanese government. She continues to live alone in a small apartment in Sangingdong in the city of Daegu. I would like to thank her for her bravery for speaking with us today. This evening, let us make it known that of the existence of the comfort women and the horrendous crimes committed by the Japanese government. Let us move the Japanese government to properly address and formally compensate them for their injustices. I introduce Ms. Yong Soo Lee. Thank you.
여러분 안녕하십니까?
Hello, everybody.
정말 여러분 만나서 반갑습니다.
It is very nice to meet you all.
더더나 여기 계시는 어른들 참 말하기조차도 아주 어려운 어른들입니다. 만나서 너무너무 제가 당했는 일을 얘기하기가 참 힘든데도 오셔서 너무 반갑습니다.
I am extremely happy to meet with all of these survivors. I know what they went through, so it must have been very difficult for them to speak out, and it is very difficult still for me to speak out, but it is my great pleasure to have you all and meeting you tonight.
네, 저는 한국에서 위에 오빠 한 분이고 밑에 남동생이 5이었습니다.
In Korea, I had 6 brothers, 1 older and 5 younger.
딸은 혼자입니다. 하나뿐입니다.
I was the only daughter.
15살에 밤에 꺾여갔습니다.
I was 15 when I was forcefully taken away at night.
네, 꺾여가서 대만 신죽 가미가제 부대로 갔습니다.
And I was taken to Taiwan, where kamikaze was stationed.
아무것도 모르는 저였습니다.
I didn't know anything.
근데 군인 방에 들어가라고 해서 제가 안 들어갔습니다.
I was told to go into a small room for the soldier, and I refused.
머리를 긋고 가가지고 강안에 쳐놓고 발길로 차고 칼로 몸을 그리고 전기 고문을 당했습니다.
They took me by my hair, and they forced me into the room. They kicked me, and they even used a knife on me, and they used electric shock on me to make me obey.
왜 그런지 몰랐습니다.
I didn't know why they were doing that.
네, 일본이 전쟁이 있는지 뭔지 그것도 전혀 모릅니다.
I didn't even know what was going on. I didn't even know if there was war going on outside.
그래서 죽어가지고 있는데 군인이 가서 너 같이 왔는 어린 아이인데 죽었을 것이다. 그러면 끄고 내가 오면 내가 묻어줄게 해서 그래 언니들이 너희가 돌아가지고 끌고 나갔습니다.
So I almost died, and one of the soldiers told other ladies who were stationed at the comfort station at the time that they thought I probably died. So they told the other ladies, to take my body outside. If I was dead, then they were going to bury me.
네, 그 군인이 제가 일주일 만에 깨어났는데 깨어나서 그 군인이 왔습니다.
So I came back to life about a week later. I didn't have consciousness for a week, and that soldier came back.
이름을 도시코라고 지어줬습니다.
He named me Toshiko.
그래서 이제 내일 되면 죽으러 간다고 노래를 가르쳐 줬습니다.
And he told me that he was going to die tomorrow because he was one of the soldiers in Kamikaze the band. So he taught me a song.
그 노래를 제가 3번 들었습니다.
I heard him sing that song 3 times.
그리고 군인 자기 종료한 거 전부 다 갖다 주고 하는데 그건 저는 몰랐습니다.
I didn't know what that meant at the time.
그게 굉장히 폭탄이 자주 떨어지고 해도 그건 저는 전쟁인지 몰랐습니다.
I had no idea, even though I heard all the bombings outside, if there was war going on.
같이 갔는 사람 둘이 죽었습니다.
2 people died who went with him.
네, 저는 그때 그 방공호에 들어가서 그 연기를 마셔서 저는 그런 줄 알았는데 막 입으로 코로 막 전부 다 피가 막 쏟아졌습니다.
And I took a hide in the bomb shelter, and I started bleeding through my mouth and through my nose. And I thought I was in that condition probably because I was breathing all this fume, but
예, 그것이 임신이었는 것 같습니다.
But I think I probably was pregnant at the time, but I didn't know.
네, 그 군인이 오질 않기 때문에로 저는 그 죽는 것을 몰랐습니다.
So I didn't know who was dying outside.
근데 이제 다른 군인들도 오고 하는데 굉장히 그때는 막 폭탄이 많이 떨어지고 굉장히 심했습니다.
And the bombing got more severe even every day.
그래서 이제 그 이튿날 되니까 어떤 머시매가 하나 왔어요. 남자 아이가.
So the next day, someone came to find me in the bomb shelter.
전쟁이 끝났다고 그러면서 수용소 들다 준다고 가자 그랬습니다.
That's when I learned that the war is over finally, and I was told that I will be taken to a camp.
그래서 저 둘이 죽었고 했는데 너희가 이제 그 수용소 갔습니다.
So 2 out of us died. So the rest of us, 4 people, went to the camp.
수용소 가서 있으니까 얼마나 있었는지 그걸 모르겠습니다.
I don't know how long I stayed in that camp.
그래서 배가 왔는데 배를 타라 그래서 또 어디를 끌고 갈까 싶어서 저는 안 타려고 그랬는데 그래 타라 그래서 탔습니다.
And then a huge boat came, and we were told to get on the boat, and I refused to get on the boat because I didn't know where they were taking us, but I was forced to be on the boat.
네, 그래서 멀리서 보니까 부산이라고 하는데 부산 가서 내렸습니다.
So finally, that's how I was told the destination was Busan. So we got off at Busan.
거기서 이제 기차를 탔는지 모르겠습니다만 기차 타고 이제 막 묵지도 안 하고 씻지도 안 하고 이랬으니까 아주 뭐 구신 같았습니다.
So I went on a train, but by that time I looked like a ghost or someone just came out of a grave because I hadn't eaten, I hadn't showered, so I looked horrible.
근데 집으로 간다고 가는데 넘어져 가지고 막 저한테 피가 나고 이랬는데 집에 가가지고 이렇게 서가 있었는데 모두 구신이라고 모두 내 빼고 이렇게 하더라고요.
So with all my strengths that remained in me, I tried to find my way to home, and I fell many times on the street, but I finally got to home. But then when I got to home, no one wanted to come near me because they thought I was a ghost.
그러니까 이제 그날 제사였습니다. 저 제사를 지낸다고 그랬습니다.
And interestingly enough, my family was holding a memorial ritual for me because they thought I died.
그래 엄마 소리가 안 나와가지고 제가 이렇게 막 이때 들어가면서 엄마가 이렇게 뭘 닦고 있었는데.
So when I stepped into my house, my mom was wiping a floor, but my voice died completely that I couldn't even let out mom.
그래서 엄마 이러니까 우리 엄마가 들어가면서 이제 귀신이 왔다고 죽은 귀신이 왔다고 그러면서 무섭다 그러면서 방에 들어가더라고요.
So finally, I said, "Mom," and my mom thought I was a ghost. I was a ghost of myself who came to visit the family on the Memorial Day. So she got afraid. So she went into the room upon seeing me.
예, 우리 아버지는 밥도 안 잡수고 술만 잡수고 이제 딸 찾아 다니시더라고 넘어져가지고 중풍으로 들어가 있었습니다.
By then, my father was sick in the bed because he had been going all the places searching for me, but to no avail. So he got stroke. So he was bedridden.
그래 이래 보시더니 그만 이렇게 뒤로 휘뚱 이래 넘어가시더라고요.
But then when he saw me, he was so shocked that he collapsed.
그 엄마를 이래 안았는데 엄마가 까무러쳤어요.
So I tried to hug my mom, and mom also lost consciousness.
그래 이제 그 쌀로 이래 갈아가지고 떠물을 먹였어요 엄마를.
So we poured some rice soup into my mom's mouth.
그때부터 일어나가지고 이제 귀신이 왔다고 막 엄마가 이제 막 정신이 없어요. 막 뛰고 밑으로 막 날 물어 뜯고 막 까지 뜨고 이랬어요.
So she was so shocked to see me. She thought I was really a ghost, and she tried to kick me. She tried to beat me. She tried to, try to find out who I was.
그래서 병원에 들어가서 엄마를 이제 주사를 맞이고 왔는데 누워가지고도 귀신을 자꾸 가르쳐요.
She still refused, to see me as I was. Even after visiting the hospital, she still thought I was a ghost.
그로부터 엄마 아버지가 병이 들었었어요.
죄송합니다. 저기 시간 관계상요. 저희가 듣고 싶은 얘기가 하나 더 있는데 그 수요 시에 대해서 좀 얘기를 해주시면 어떠실까 합니다. 네, 죄송합니다.
Okay.
So. 제가 말씀드릴게요.
I will talk about the Wednesday
제
protest.
증언은 실제가 이게 처음에서부터 끝까지 해야 됩니다. 하면 정말 눈물 없이는 못 듣고 제가 눈물이 나서 못 합니다.
I know what. Let me tell you, because if you want me to tell you my story, I have to do it from the beginning to the end. Without crying, I cannot even recount what happened to me.
기회가 있어가지고 처음서부터 끝까지 저 정언을 하도록 해주셨으면 정말 감사하겠습니다.
If you have any chance, please allow me to tell you what happened in whole.
네, 그리부터 지금까지 20년입니다. 20년 동안 일본 대사관 앞에서 눈이 오나 비가 오나 가서 앉아가지고 사죄해라, 배상해라 하는 것을 오늘이 한국은 14일입니다.
So it's been 20 years. For 20 years, when it rained, when it snowed, when it blared, burning in heat, we went in front of the Japanese embassy and we protested every Wednesday for 20 years, asking for their former apologies and legal compensation. It's been 20 years like that.
14일 1000분입니다. 1000분. 일주일에 수요일 마저 나가서 데모를 합니다.
Right now, in Korea, it is the 14th Wednesday, so 14th of December marks the 1000th Wednesday protest.
20년입니다.
It's been 20 years.
20년을 동물 다니고 나이 많은 늙은이들이 추우나 더우나 앉아가지고 왜 일본한테 사죄해라 배상해라 그렇게 외쳐야 됩니까?
The old people, old ladies, for 20 years, why should we do it? Why should we go on in front of the Japanese embassy and demand formal apologies and legal compensation? Why should we do it?
말하기도 어려운 1000분입니다. 1000분 말하기도 어렵죠. 한데 가만히 앉아 있어도 일본이 사죄하고 배상해야 됩니다.
This is the 1000th time. It's not easy. It hasn't been easy. Even if we didn't do anything, Japan should have apologized and should have done what they had to do.
그래도 일본은 아직까지 사죄는커녕 마음만 하고 있습니다.
However, Japan has yet to apologize. Japan has yet to say the right thing. 한만은 이
1000분날을 제가 미국에 와서 여러분들께 일본 만행을 알리러 왔습니다.
So the sorrow, the anger has accumulated for 20 years during that 1000 protests in front of Japanese embassy. And finally, I am here with you to share my stories and to share what we want with you all.
일본은 아직까지 끝이지 않았습니다. 마음만 합니다.
Japan hasn't Japan hasn't changed their attitude yet.
끊고 가져갈 거 다 가져갔습니다.
They took whatever they wanted. They forced whomever they wanted to take away.
못 가져가는 독도도 저것 따위라 했습니다.
They even are saying the Dokdo, the island, is theirs.
말도 안 되는 소리를 하고 있습니다.
It is totally nonsense.
여러분, 일본의 만행, 일본의 행동, 일본의 나쁜 놈, 여러분들 아셔야 됩니다.
So I am here to testify in front of you that what Japan has done, what atrocity Japan has committed, I want to tell you and I want you to share with you. That's why I'm here.
할머니들이 다 죽기를 바랍니다. 일본은.
They are waiting for us to die out one by one.
할머니들 많이 돌아가셨습니다.
Already a lot of 할머니es, grandmas have passed away.
지금 살아계시는 할머니들, 못 움직이는 할머니들이 전부입니다.
Most of the survivors are sick and a lot of them are bedridden.
일본이 단 한 사람이라도 피해자가 살아있을 때 일본이 반드시 일본 천황입니다. 저는 지금 용서 못합니다. 일본 천황이 왕이 내 앞에 무릎을 꿇고 사죄를 해야 됩니다.
I demand Japan to apologize while the survivor, while at least one victim is still alive, and I want the Japanese emperor who caused the war come and kneel down in front of me and apologize.
여러분에게 일본 만행, 일본 나쁜 놈들, 못된 놈들 처음부터 위안부라고 했습니다. 위안소라고 했습니다. 제가 다 그렇게 짓고 만들었습니다.
That's why I am here to tell you what Japan did, what atrocity Japan committed. They gave the name comfort women. They named the brothel comfort station. They were the ones who named those things.
그래놓고도 지금도 아니라고 하고 없다는 거 하고 여러분들이 여기 계시는 분들 또 여러분들한테 일본이 이렇게 나쁜 행동이다, 나쁜 놈이다 하는 걸 저는 여러분한테 일러러 왔습니다. 말씀드리러 왔습니다. 여러분들이 같이 두 번 다시 어느 나라도 전쟁이 없어야 됩니다.
But they turn around and tell everyone who asks that never happened, that is not true, and they try to hide what happened, saying that it's a lie. But I am here to tell you in person what happened and what Japan did, and because I do not want to see the same thing ever again happen again to the next generation.
네, 성폭력이 없어야 됩니다. 성폭력을 있는 거는 일본이 강제 위안부 문제 해결하라니까 성폭력이 있습니다.
I think one of the reasons we have so much sexual violence in this world is that those things, those crimes such as committed by Japan has not been completely resolved.
성폭력 일본이 이 문제 강제 위안부 문제 해결하면 성폭력 뿌리를 뽑습니다.
If Japan comes forward with this and if they come forward and resolve this issue, I believe it will contribute tremendously to resolve the sexual violence issue.
여러분 같이 일본 만행을 규탄하면서 일본이 지금이라도 늦지 않으니 사죄 배상하도록 여러분이 다 같이 투쟁해 주십시오. 힘을 주십시오. 감사합니다.
Please help us. Please empower us hand in hand to tell Japan they need to apologize so that this atrocity never happens again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Thank you. Actually, there are about 80 comfort women survivors in Korea. Those two comfort women survivors are selected who can travel to United States, and we can balance that, because Yong Soo Lee she has a lot of stories, but Miss Ok-Seon Yi she can travel, but she will deliver a really short message tonight. So I would like to introduce Stella Kim, who will introduce Miss Ok-Seon Yi.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stella Kim. So the survivor that I'm about to introduce, named Miss Ok-Seon Yi. She was born from a poor family in Busan in 1927, which was 84 years ago. When she was only 15 years old, Miss Yi was captured and forced to be a sexual slavery for Japanese military for 3 years. In 2000, she finally returned to Korea. Currently, Mrs. Yi has been attending Wednesday protests in front of the Japanese embassy for its sincere apology. She's one of the most active and fervent human rights activists. And please allow me to introduce Mrs. Ok-Seon Yi.
안녕하십니까.
Nice to meet you, everyone.
여러분들 이 바쁜 시절에 이렇게 많이 오셔서 이렇게 만나서 반갑습니다.
It is very nice to meet you, and I know you all are very busy, but thank you for coming.
제가 이 자리에 나와서 여러분들을 대화를 하려니까 참 부끄럽습니다.
I feel embarrassed to share my stories here with you.
우리가 좋은 데 있다고 와서 얘기를 하면 좋겠는데 실제 역사를 놓고 보면 그래 좋은 데가 아닙니다. 양부라는 데가 좋은 데가 아니기 때문에 여러분들 앞에서 얘기를 하려니 정말 부끄럽습니다.
Had we been to a nice place, I would be proud to share the stories with you, but then the comfort station is not such a good place that I don't feel very proud. Rather, I feel embarrassed to share my story with you.
저는 15살 때 나무집에 식모살이로 갔어요.
I was 15 and I was made a housekeeper at somebody else's household.
식모살이 갔다가 주인 심부름을 나갔다가 심부름 갔다 오는데 집으로 돌아오는데 난데없는 남자가 둘이 와서 길을 막으면서 너 어디로 가는 거야 하면 문의도 없이 그저 이래 남자 하나는 이팔 주고 하나는 이팔 주고 그저 무조건 끌고 가는 거예요.
So I was sent out for an errand, and on my way back to the household that I was working for, suddenly all of a sudden 2 men approached me, and they didn't even ask me where are you going, or they didn't tell me anything. They just grabbed my arm, one person each side, and they started dragging me away.
그리 끌려가면서도 뭐 일본 군인인지 조선 사람인지 일본 사람인지 모르고 군인지 순사인지 경찰인지 모르고 저는 갔어요. 이게 얼마나 놀랐겠습니까?
I didn't even know while I was being dragged away. I didn't even know if they were soldiers, if they were police, if they were just investigator, if they were Japanese, if they were Korean. So I was so shocked.
그래서 저는 그렇게 가서 무조건 부모 형제도 모릅니다.
So no one knew where I went. No one knew why I disappeared. Even my family, my own parents didn't know where I went.
저는 집이 부산인데 부산에서 울산이라는 데로 가서 나무집으로 갔어요.
Actually, my family lived in Busan at the time, but I was working in another city, Ulsan.
그래서 주인 신발을 나갔다 끌려갔는데 부모 형제도 모르지요. 일본 사람이 끌어갔는지 제 발로 끌어간지 몰라요.
So even if I was taken away like that, my parents had no idea if Japanese person dragged me away or if I volunteered to go with them.
저는 그날 가다가 어디까지 갔는가? 그날로 저는 중국까지 끌려갔어요.
So on the very same day, I was taken to China.
중국에 어디면가 하면은 중국 연변이라는 데 연길시랍니다. 그런 데로 갔어요.
So the place I was taken to was China, in China, the city of Yanji in Yanbian.
저는 끌려가자마자 이안부로 들어간 게 아닙니다.
But I was not taken to the comfort station right away.
저는 그래 끌려가서 어디로 가는가 연변이가 도착해서 연길 시내 들어갔는데 비행장으로 갔어요.
The place I arrived was airport for the military.
그래 비행장에 가갖고 일을 했어요.
So that's
비행장에
when
무슨 일을 했는가 하면은 중국에 원래 비행장이 있었는데 일본서 중국을 침략해 들어가니까 비행장이 적어갖고 크게 학대를 하는데.
So that's where I was forced to work, and what they were doing at the airport was to expand the airport for the purposes of Japanese military.
그 가서 무슨 일을 하는가? 뭐 다른 일 별로 없어요. 비행기 장이 적어서 크게 확대하니까 비행기 굴러다니는 길을 닦는 거예요. 그거 가서 풀을 뽑고 길 닦고 이런 일을 하는 거예요.
So what I and other people did at the airport was to clear up the road so that it would become runway for the airplanes to take off and land.
그래서 우리는 끌려가는 날부터 아무것도 못 먹고 물도 한 모금 못 마시고 끌려다니다나 배는 얼마나 고팠겠어요.
They didn't even feed us. They didn't even give us water to drink for days.
그래 철없는 것들이 끌려다니다가 비행장을 들어갔는데 가니까 우리뿐이 아니고 저는 제 하나인가 했었는데 끌려가며 차를 타고 보니까 제 같은 여자가 며칠 길러 가다가 끌려간 거예요. 그러니까 저까지 6시 1시에 끌려가는 거예요.
And when I was first taken away, I was thrown into a truck, and that's where I found that I was not the only one who was being taken away. There were 5 more girls just like me who were just abruptly taken on the street.
그래서 그 비행장에 가서 일을 착수하니까 먹는 걸 주는데 밥을 주지 않아요. 밀가루 씌워서 저 시내 가면 찐빵하고 파는데 그런 거 하나씩 주고 일하라는 거예요.
So finally, when we arrived and started working at the airport, that's when they started feeding us. But they didn't give us the rice, our main diet. They gave us some mixture of grains and flour, which is far below the standard of the everyday meal.
그렇게 먹고 일하라니까 우리가 그렇게 먹고 빵 하나씩 할랄 하나씩 먹고 어떻게 일을 합니까? 근데 한국은 그렇게 쉽지 않은데 그때 중국 가는 7월 달인데 제가 그 날짜를 잊어버리잖아요. 1942년 7월 29일 날에 딱 중국 도착했어요.
So I still remember the day that I was taken to. It was the July 29th of 1942. That's the day I arrived in China.
그래서 일하는 장소가 어떤 데인가? 참 무서운 데예요. 이렇게 세술로 전기 철망을 했는데 거기다 전기 철망 안에서 일을 하는 거예요.
And they surrounded the place that we were supposed to work with electric wires so that we wouldn't run away from the work.
그래갖고 그걸 먹고 그런 데서 일을 하는데 그래서 그런 데서만 일해도 그 세술로 철망해갖고 전기 연 원인은 뭐인가? 우리가 일하다가 바쁘면 그게 찌 넘어간다고. 뛰면 넘어가지 못하고 전기에 붙어 죽으라는 이 의미로 전기를 그 넘에서 우리가 일을 하는 거예요.
So what do you think was the reason they had this electric wire around us? If we couldn't stand the hard labor anymore, we probably might have tried to escape from the work. And then, if we tried, we would die of the electricity that runs through the electric wire. That was the reason they did that.
할머니 죄송합니다만요. 저희가 아까 말씀드린 것처럼 저희 타임이 너무 짧아가지고요. 다른 분들 시간을 많이 잡아먹었습니다. 그래서 일단 여기서 하시고 이따가 저쪽 홀로코스트 센터 세컨드 세션에 가셔가지고 또 얘기하실 수 있는 시간이 있습니다. 그때 말씀 좀 나눠주셨으면 감사하겠습니다.
그래서 저는 할 말 다 못합니다.
But then
중간중간 빼놓고 중간중간 여러 것만 하는데
well,
오래 안 하겠어요.
I am actually leaving out a lot of details to tell you the very brief version of my story, but let me speed up.
내가 다 하려면 조금 말 다 하려면 많이 했겠는데 시간이 그렇게 되면 중간중간에 조금씩.
I know we don't have a lot of time, so I will just skip a lot of details.
그래서 거기서 일을 하는 게 너무 곤란스럽고 배고프지 춥지. 그래서 전에가 항해를 하는 거예요.
So it was so difficult to work. We were hungry. We weren't being fed. We weren't being provided with a lot of necessities. So we started protesting.
어째 항해를 하는가? 배고프지 춥지 일하기가 너무 곤란스러워요. 그래서 집에 보내달라고 항해를 하고 그렇게 하니까 우리가 무슨 말이 실데 있습니까? 실데 없지요. 그래서 너무 항해를 하니까 자꾸 때리지요. 일 안 하고 그런다고. 그래 매만 맞고 있다가 그래도 우리는 자꾸 집 보내달라고 그랬어요. 그래도 안 보내주니까
So what we said was that let us go home because we were hungry, we were miserable. But then would they listen to us? No, they would just beat us. That was their answer. But then we kept protesting. We kept saying that we want to go home. 그랬더니요.
그래갖고 한 군인이 와갖고 너네 왜 일 안 하고 이렇게 자꾸 행패만 부르는가 싫다고 왜 우리 길 가는 사람 강제로 끌어다가 이런 데다 갔대요. 이렇게 고상시킨 집에 보내달라고. 우리는 아버지 엄마 기다리길래 빨리 가야 된다고. 그러니까 일 안 하고 집에서 이렇게만 행패 부른다고 할라로 와서 너네 가자 보내줄게. 그러니까 보내준다 하니까 너무 좋아갖고 펑펑 뛰며 나왔어요.
So finally, one soldier showed up and asked us, "Why are you guys acting out like this?" And we told them that, my parents are waiting. Our parents are waiting. Why did you take us from the street so that my parents don't know where we are? We want to go home. Then the soldier said, "Okay, I will take you home." So we were so happy. We were excited.
그렇게 해서 그때 이렇게 나왔는데 군인들이 가자 그래서 데려가 따라갔는데 그때 우리는 보내준다니까 집을 보내주는 게 해서 너무 좋아갖고 나왔는데 따라오니까 그게 그때서 우리를 이안부라는 데다 갖다 연 거예요.
So we were so happy to follow the soldier away from that airport where we were staying, and we thought we were going home. But then the place he took us was the comfort station.
실제 이안부가 뭐 하는 데인지 무슨 공장인지 학교인지도 모르고 15살 시집도 못 가본 사람이 어떻게 압니까? 뭘 압니까?
I had no idea what a comfort station was. I was so young. I didn't know, what was to happen when you got married, and I didn't even know if it was a factory, if it was a school, if it was some place to work. I didn't know.
이양서라는 사람 사는 데가 아니고 사람 담는 도살장입니다. 참 무서운 데예요.
The place called the comfort station was not a place for a human being to live. It was a slaughterhouse. It was such a scary place.
왜서 이렇게 말할 수가 있는가? 나이 어린 사람, 우리 한국의 딸들을 나 먹은 사람 안 가져갔어요. 다 나이 어린 거. 여러분들 생각해 보시오. 11살이 뭘 합니까? 11살짜리. 11살이는 젖 먹는 애기입니다. 우리 한국 딸들 하나도 안 가져갔다 하지만은 11살부터 끌어갔으니까 11살, 12살, 13살, 14살, 15살 갔다 뭘 합니까? 다 주겠지요.
The reason I'm saying is because, I mean, they had an 11-year-old girl taken there. I mean, think about it. They were 11, 12, 13, and 14 years old girls. They don't know anything, and they were just kids at home. And they were all Korean girls. Japanese are saying that they never took any Korean women, but I saw them there.
왜서 이안부란 데가 무서운 데인가? 걔가 가서 살아보니까 참 사람 살 데가 못 되는 거예요.
It was a horrible place. It was a horrible, horrible, despicable place to live.
놓을 줄 말하면 12살, 13살이 뭘 압니까?
To be honest with you, what do you think a 12-year-old or 13-year-old girl knows?
12살, 13살짜리는 갖다 놓고 말 안 듣는다고 때리고 두드리고 예? 칼로 찌르고
They would beat them, they would stab them with knife, saying that they are not obeying their orders.
그리고 그 12살, 11살짜리를 갖다 놓고 말 안 듣고 때리고 찌르고 하다가 그래도 말 안 들으면 때리고 제껴놓고 칼로 옷을 이렇게 다 잡아째요. 칼로. 옷을 다 잡아째놓고 사람을 거기를 칼로 이렇게 째면 거기서 뭐이 나옵니까? 핏밖에 나올 게 있어요.
And if you still refuse to do what they tell you to do, they would slash your clothes with knife, and they would shove your private part with knife, and what would come out? Only blood would come out.
할머니 저 죄송합니다면은 저희가 이 스토리를 나중에 저기 세컨 세션으로 컴포보면 저기 홀로코스트 센터 가서 또 계속 하도록 하겠습니다.
말하지 말까?
아니요,
어떻게 너무 길어서요. 저희가 다른 분들 일정상 저희가
그러면 그때 얘기를 하시면 어떨까요? 그러면
어떻게 마무리를 해주실 수?
That's fine. She can, yeah.
Yeah, I just talked to her because her story is really painful and long. So we will keep listen to her stories after the first session. We will go back to the second session. We will go back to the Holocaust Center for the second session. We will have the time to hear her stories. Yeah, please understand this. And now we are really under pressure of time. Actually, our plan was having two performances in between the testimonies because the stories are so painful, and then we want to lower your agony you may have felt during their testimonies. But we are under the time pressure. We will have one performers are waiting, and then they have to leave this event soon. So we will have Shin Arirang that's performed by Garden State Opera, led by Professor Chu Sung-bae. And please welcome the performers. Thank you, Garden State Opera, for the performance. And now now it's time for the stories of Holocaust survivors. We have Mr. Marcio Mariano, who is the intern for the Holocaust Center. Mr. Mariano will introduce Holocaust survivors. Please welcome.
Hi, my name is Mauricio Moreno. I interned for Dr. Flug over at the Holocaust Resource Center, and my responsibility there is to learn, document, and propagate the stories of the Holocaust survivors so that history doesn't forget them. In the same way, these ladies are telling their stories, and it should be documented and should be propagated and shouldn't be forgotten so that history doesn't repeat itself and these atrocities don't repeat themselves. I'm here to introduce two of our Holocaust survivors. Their names are Ethel Katz and Hannah Liebman. Hannah Liebman, at the age of 17, was living in Germany with her 92-year-old grandmother, her mother, and when her 92-year-old grandmother herself and her mother were captured and sent to a prison camp in France. Shortly thereafter, her grandmother died of starvation, and not long after that, she had to say farewell to her mother when she was sent to Auschwitz, and she never saw her again. She was hidden by some friendly French farmers until she was finally liberated at the end of the war. Our second survivor, Ethel Katz, was a teenager living in Poland when the Nazis invaded Poland. While trying to escape with her family, her father, her two brothers, and her sister were murdered. She was able to survive in the forest for months during winter, and was finally liberated at the end of the war near starvation. And I guess here we are to hear the stories from themselves. I present to you Ethel Katz.
Good evening, our distinguished guest. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ethel Katz. I come from a small town in eastern Poland. I had a family of 7 members, parents, a sister, and 3 brothers. I am the only survivor. Hitler marched into our city. July 1941, the atrocities began immediately. The first victim in my family was my twin brother, who was murdered along with 450 professionals, the Jewish intelligentsia. Then the atrocities, the murders speeded up, beginning with 1942. They started with raids and actions, and by the thousands, they shipped us to labor camps and gas chambers. Over thousands every few weeks. By June 1943, the town was declared Juden-free. No Jew had any right to exist anymore. My family, what was left, my father, my sister, my 2 brothers, my mother died before the war. We escaped from the ghetto into a village. We were hiding in chicken coops, in shacks, in fields, in farms, wherever it was possible. At the last house, we were hiding in our own farm. It was leveled to the ground. Only the building remained, because under the Soviet Russian it remained a school. We were discovered there March 8, 1943. 1944. My whole family was murdered. I was left for dead. Polish youngsters discovered me in the snow, and they rescued me, took me to the house, and saved me there. 2 weeks later, the Russians liberated the area. 2 weeks too late. I found the bodies of my father, my sister, and 2 brothers, and my rescuer helped me to bury them. He did a great thing for me. He stopped, as we stopped digging the grave, putting the bodies into the grave, he stopped and he said, we must say a prayer. Every decent person deserves a decent, proper burial. And a Christian youngster said a Christian prayer for Jewish people. I was grateful for his noble gesture, and I returned to the city. I was recuperating, and a week later, Hitler counterattacked and captured the city again. And the battleground was right in the city. I had to hide to find a place. I found an attic with a fake wall. I hid. It was God sent for me, because if not that, I intended to hide only in the attic and cover myself with some rubbish. But 2 days later, the whole house was occupied by German soldiers. So I was effectively a prisoner. I was tormented. I was tortured by hunger and thirst for 4 months. July 22, the Russians liberated the area. I crawled out. I could not walk. I could not talk. I could not eat. I could not keep the food. It took a whole year until I regained the capability to walk again. I was free. After a year, from 13,000 Jews, 50 survived. We all left the area and spread over the world. I came to America. Every morning I say, God bless America. Thank you.
Good evening. It is an honor to be here at this occasion. Let me give you a synopsis of my life. I was born and raised in Germany. I witnessed the rise of Hitler and all the things that happened between 1933 and 1940, when I was deported together with my family and 6,504 people from the provinces of Baden, the Palatinate, and the Saar. We were the only deportation ever to be taken west. And we were taken to the unoccupied part of France, very close to the Spanish border, and put in a concentration camp. Life in the camp was abominable. It was the antechamber to hell. There were some things that did not exist in other camps, in that some social service agencies could function, that could only happen in France and nowhere else. And so, together with 6 other teenagers, after 11 months in the camp, I was able to leave. We were transferred to a small French village in the unoccupied zone called Le Chambon-sur-Lignon, and you might have heard about the village. It certainly was the best place on earth. The people were absolutely outstanding, and when the chips came down, they took us in and they hid us. As long as there was no immediate danger, we lived in a group home that was run by the Swiss Red Cross Children's Division. We led as normal a life as you can live when you are in a group home. The people of Le Chambon are outstanding. My mother, as the gentleman mentioned, was deported in 1942 to Auschwitz, and of course, we all know what happened. I never saw her again. It was a very, very difficult parting because I happened to be there when she was taken away, when she was shipped away. Brussels existed in the German concentration camps and in Poland in the camps. Like these ladies, young girls were taken and put into Brussels for the SS and other military people. I was lucky, and I was more than lucky, that I could escape from France into Switzerland. But I would like to come back to these two wonderful ladies who experienced more than hell. Japan tells us about honor and being honorable, and after all these years, they cannot say, yes, we did that, we are sorry, and maybe compensate these people for what they had to endure. This is not honor, this is dishonor. It is dishonorable what they are doing. Germany said, yes, this is what happened under Hitler. And they try to apologize, because in no way can you apologize for what happened during this time. Neither can we, the survivors, accept an apology. The apology would go to the ones who were killed, and they can no longer speak. So, Japan, wake up, do the right thing. Apologize to these people. Own up to what you did. It's about time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now it is I do this so often, and I say with some honor, it's just part of being director of the Holocaust Center. I'd like to introduce a great friend of the Holocaust Center, Cantor Salzim.
Listening to these people tell about their atrocities, listening to what happens to people when there is war, just tells us that we cannot look back. You have to only look forward and know that there are people behind you. So you must walk on with hope in your heart, because you will always have hope when there are people like us in the American public who know that there were atrocities, who know that the Holocaust took place, whether it was for these wonderful women who had these comfort stations and had to take care of all these men, and what happened in the Holocaust itself. I would like to just share one song with you which depicts these type of atrocities that you cannot look back, but you must walk on with hope in your heart.
Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and a sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the rain, walk on through that storm, and you'll never walk alone. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk you'll never walk alone. Keep your spirit going, and it will never end. It will be done.
Thank you, Cantor Soul Jim. Actually, our plan was having a responding time to their stories by distinguished guests. We're gonna, to save some time, we will cut that part. We will do that in the Holocaust Center when we have the second session. Right now, we're gonna just acknowledge some distinguished guests. Dr. Frug will introduce some American politicians in nearby here.
It's strange to be introduced as an American politician, but I'd like to call up several of our American politicians that are here who've been tremendous sources of strength and support to us. I'd like to call up Senator Tony Avella.
You know, it's unusual for an elected official to be at a loss for words, but I have to tell you, after listening to the stories of these very brave women, I am at a loss for words. You know, someone once said, if we fail to learn from the mistakes of the past, we are doomed to repeat them. What happened during World War II in Germany, in Japan, and throughout the whole theater of war was an absolute disgrace, and probably the worst that has ever happened to modern humanity. And hearing your stories tonight is so very important. And I know it must be tough to relive those experiences, but for the younger generation throughout the world, it's important for them to know that these events actually happen, that they're not something that we just read in a book, that they actually happen to individuals, they happen to our grandmothers, our grandfathers, that they were such indescribable violations of human rights and human liberties. So all I can say is you're very courageous women, and we should applaud them over and over again for just being here and making sure that we remember what happened to them and those that unfortunately passed away under the occupying Japanese and German armies. And I share the concerns tonight that the Japanese government must apologize. It is a small thing, but it is an important thing for a government to recognize that its country in the past did some very egregious wrongs. And let us celebrate tomorrow, which will be the 1,000th Wednesday protest. So whatever I can do, and I know everybody in this audience is going to walk away, and I know everybody in this audience is going to contact the Japanese government and express our support for an official apology. Thank you.
And now I'd like to call up someone who's been with us not only in word and deed, but giving us strong financial support, Assemblyman Rory Lansman.
Good evening, everyone. The stories that we heard tonight were deeply moving. Let me first thank the women who have shared their stories with us. You know, in the Jewish community, there are many opportunities to hear from Holocaust survivors, and the tragedy of the Holocaust is an integral part of our history and our culture, and it has shaped our identity as a people. And I can see that the same is true for the Korean people. And it would be impossible for me to understand the Korean community that I represent without understanding the tragedy of the Comfort women. And so I want to thank the Holocaust Resource Center and everybody who was involved in putting this event together. And of course, again, the women who shared their stories, because I know that it will make me a better and more responsible elected official. And as we go forward and continue to demand justice for the victims of the Holocaust, because there are always issues regarding restitution and other such subjects with the German government, and of course demanding justice for the Comfort women vis-a-vis Japan and its unwillingness to do the very least that it should do, which is to apologize. I certainly look forward to working with all of you going forward to seek justice for everyone who has suffered from the Holocaust or from the Japanese occupation. I thank you for letting me share in this evening.
One of the people who I met 2 years ago, I believe when he first came into office, was Councilman Peter Koo. And I found myself in the strange situation of asking someone who was Korean to support the internship program for supporting Jewish Holocaust survivors. And when I said to him, we would like to meet with you, he said, come right in. And when he said, well, what do you want? And when I told him, his response was, fine, you got it, which is amazing. And I'd like to call up Councilman Peter Koo.
Good evening, everyone. Actually, today is not a happy occasion. We were very sad to hear the Comfort women stories and also the Holocaust survivors. No. So we learn from this is that we hope history won't repeat again. I, myself, and my family, we escaped communism. We left China in 1952, and my family almost died. But our suffering is no comparison with their sufferings. So I hope we'll remember this, and we will encourage our future generations. We don't have to go to war for any reason. And we hope we have to urge the government of Japan, don't be a turtle in the sand, stand up, realize be real. They cannot wash away history. So I urge them to apologize and make compensations to the comfort women survivors, just like the Germany do. I salute all these survivors, and I thank each one of you come here to commemorate this 1,000 Wednesday protest together. Thank you very much. And also we had to thank the Holocaust Center for doing this for us. Like the previous speaker over said, we don't want to repeat history, this kind of terrible history again. Thank you.
And next, I thought when I first met Councilman Halloran, he was a newcomer and he was feeling his way, but I remember meeting with him, and he reminded me that he was at the opening of a Holocaust Center in 2009, and that he attended every major event we ever sponsored. So I felt at home when I asked him for some money for support, and I even felt better when it was forthcoming. Councilman Halloran.
It was Winston Churchill who first said, "Those who do not remember the lessons of history are doomed to repeat its mistakes." And the United States, during World War II, lost many soldiers in defense of liberty throughout the world. But it wasn't just liberty that our soldiers fought for. They stood along Korean soldiers, they stood along English soldiers, and they fought for the very lives of the men and women in their countries. And the United States pushed Germany after World War II to make sure that reparations were made to those families and survivors of the Holocaust, because that greatest tragedy in human history should not only not be forgotten, but it should also be burned into the memory of the consciousness of this country. That in the 20th century, a modern time, any nation could do the things that Germany did is something that we should not forget, because it could happen today. It's happened today, whether we're talking about Darfur or we're talking about some of the civil rights violations that had occurred in China. The comfort women have a story that was not told in the mainstream press. It was not carried, as the Holocaust was, home to Israel, in part because the Korean country fought a civil war just after. And so there wasn't the opportunity for a unified nation to speak about these atrocities and say, we need to have justice. Well, today is Wednesday in Japan and in Korea. Today is the day that the embassy will have men and women standing in front of it for the 1,000th time to say, have you forgotten? Why don't you remember? And I think it's fitting that the Kupferberg Center, which is a model, a star, an emblem of this country's commitment, this city's commitment, this educational dynamics commitment to not forgetting, to have embraced another part of the Holocaust that took place. I've had the privilege, the honor of representing several Holocaust families in recoveries with the Claims Resolution Tribunal. It's never easy. It's always another form. It's always another piece of data. And the Korean community hasn't even gotten that far. The Japanese government hasn't even said what we did was wrong and we're sorry. At least the German government has acknowledged that it committed war crimes. At least the German government had its leadership tried for those crimes. And as Albert Speer wrote in his Inside the Third Reich, we knew what we were doing, and yet we were oblivious to it. Well, it's time for the Japanese government to stop being oblivious to what they did, and it's time for people of good conscience to make sure we do not forget. So to all of you brave women who've come forward and spoken about it, to the survivors, thank you. We owe you a debt. And to the rest of us, never forget. Thank you. And
Alan Bierman. Okay. Chejin.
We have a special guest from South Korea. Her name is Mrs. Sunyoung Park, who is a National Assembly member, and she's special to this comfort woman issue because she is a chairperson for a comfort woman issue in the National Assembly in South Korea, and then she will deliver a short message about the comfort woman issue and her experience. Please welcome Mrs. Sunyoung Park.
If you don't mind, I'd like to tell you in Korean language. 저는 한국에서 온 박선영 의원이라고 하고요. 대한민국 국회에 위안부 문제를 생각하는 의원들의 모임의 대표를 맡고 있습니다.
My name is Sunyoung Park. I am a member of National Assembly in South Korea. I am the representative of the committee comprising with the National Assembly members who have concerns about the comfort women issue.
저는 이 문제를 오랫동안 해오면서 할머니들의 증언을 참 여러 번 들었지만 매번 들을 때마다 가슴이 너무 아픕니다. 그리고 오늘 카츠 할머니와 그 리브만 할머니께도 각별한 감사 인사를 드리고 수요 집회 1000회를 맞이해서 온 대한민국 국민들은 정말 가슴 저린 하루를 맞고 있는데 이렇게 유대 센터에서 좋은 만남의 장을 만들어 주신 것을 굉장히 감사하게 생각하고 의미 있는 일이라고 생각합니다.
I have been working on this issue for a long time, and I have actually listened to the testimonies of the comfort women survivors many times, but every time it's heartbreaking. And I also would like to thank you for your testimony, Ms. Katz and Ms. Lieberman, for your heartfelt stories. Today marks the 1000th Wednesday of protest back in Korea. All Korean citizens are feeling the heartbreaks on this 1000th day of Wednesday protest, but I think it is truly meaningful to have this meeting and gathering at the Holocaust Center. So I thank you greatly for hosting this meaningful event.
그리고 아직은 역사가 짧지만 한국에서 온 우리 미주 한인들이 유권자 센터를 구성하고 이렇게 풀뿌리 운동을 하는 것에 대해서도 각별한 경의의 말씀을 드립니다.
I also would like to honor and would like to show my appreciation for the Korean American Voters Council. Although their history isn't long, they have been working greatly in Korean community, making sure they have the grassroots support from the Korean community in the United States. So I thank you for your great work.
제 앞에서 미국 정치인들께서 일본이 사과해야 되고 보상을 해야 된다라는 말씀을 하셨지만 일본은 사과 이전에 이것을 인정도 하지 않고 있습니다. 일본은 자신들이 한 행동이 아니라 그 여자들이 돈을 벌기 위해서 몸을 팔려고 왔던 것이지 일본 정부가 개입한 적이 없다라고 이렇게 얘기하고 있습니다. 그러나 두 할머니의 말씀을 드렸듯이 13살 소녀가 돈을 벌기 위해서 몸을 팔러 그 자리에 갔겠습니까? 그리고 너무나 많은 증언과 너무나 많은 문서와 너무나 많은 증거들이 일본 정부가 특히 일본 군부가 개입해서 직접적으로 강제로 그들을 끌고 갔고 그들에게 정말 비인도적인 방법으로 그들의 몸을 혹사하고 그리고 그들을 몹쓸 짓을 하게 하고 그리고 평생을 가슴 아프게 살고 하고 있다는 것을 많은 증거들이 있음에도 그들은 이 사실을 인정조차 하지 않고 있습니다.
The politicians of the United States in front of me talked about the need for Japanese government to apologize and compensate for what happened in the during the World War II. However, what we need to know is the Japanese government do not even recognize what had happened in the past. They are saying that these women voluntarily joined the comfort station in order to make money, and they were prostitutes who wanted to make money out of working at the comfort station. But think about it, how can girls in the ages of 13 years old and 14 years old would want to go on prostitution to make money at comfort station? That is ridiculous claim. As you heard by the testimonies of these ladies, there had been numerous testimonies such as this that disprove the Japanese government's assertion. So it is clear that so many these ladies were forcibly taken away by the Japanese government. Japanese government is denying any involvement of the Japanese government at the official level, but it is so clear that Japanese government systematically were involved in the process that committed such atrocity that their human rights were trampled down, and the survivors had to endure so much suffering until now.
그리고 일본 군에 성노예를 했던 사람은 단지 대한민국 여성만이 아닙니다. 중국 여성도 있고 대만 여성, 필리핀, 인도네시아, 네덜란드, 그리고 말레이시아 여성들까지 전 세계 많은 나라의 여성들이 일본군 위안부로 희생이 되었습니다. 그럼에도 불구하고 일본은 스스로 손바닥으로 하늘을 가리는 이런 일을 하고 있습니다. 저는 오늘 이 자리에서 한 가지 제안을 드리고 싶습니다. 일본군 위안소가 현재 대한민국 안에는 존재하지 않지만 그러나 현재 중국과 북한에는 일본군 위안소로 쓰였던 곳이 남아 있습니다. 그대로 남아 있고 그 방에는 뭐 사병은 한 번 하는데 얼마, 장교는 한 번 하는데 얼마 하듯이 그런 가격표까지 써 있는 곳이 남아 있습니다. 그러나 우리 대한민국은 지정학적적인 위치로 인해서 또 여러 가지 외교적인 문제로 그 장소를 보존하는 일을 하고 있지 못한데 이것을 국제적인 연대를 통해서 일본군 위안소를 역사적인 장소로 보존하는 일을 여기 계신 많은 분들과 함께 하고 싶습니다. 왜냐하면 역사는 기억하는 자의 몫이기 때문입니다.
But Japanese government is still refusing to recognize what had happened. And another thing I want to tell you is that Koreans were not the only comfort women who were taken away from their home. There were Chinese ladies, there were Taiwanese, there were Filipinos, there were Indonesian, there were Dutch, there were Malaysian young girls and women who were taken away as comfort women by Japanese military as well. But Japan is still trying to hide their responsibilities and denying what had happened in the past. And I would like to take this opportunity to make a proposal to you. There are comfort stations throughout the North Korea and some parts of China still existing to this day. There is no comfort station in South Korea due to the geopolitical reasons, but there are still some comfort stations remaining in parts of China and North Korea. So in some those comfort stations, you can still see how the rooms look like, and some of the rooms still have the rate chart they were charging for the officers or the average soldiers. So I would like to propose to you, through international solidarity, I'd like you to participate in the effort to preserve those comfort stations throughout the world.
마지막에 미국 정치인인 할러원 의원께서 잊지 말고 기억하자라는 말씀을 하셨는데, 저는 요즘 이 물망초 배지, Forget Me Not을 의미하는 물망초 배지 달기 운동을 하고 있습니다. 이것은 일제시대 때에 생겨났던 그 위안부 할머니도 그렇지만 사할린 1세들 문제, 그리고 중앙아시아로 나갔던 수많은 그 한인들의 고통, 그리고 원폭 피해자, BC급 전범들을 포함해서 지금 북한 정치범 수용소에서 고통받고 있는 많은 분들을 잊지 말고 기억하자는 의미에서 물망초 배지 달기 운동을 하고 있습니다. 기억해야 바뀔 수 있다는 생각을 하고 있기 때문입니다. 그래서 오신 분들도 함께 동참을 하시겠다면 밖에서 제가 이 물망초 배지를 나누어 드리고, 이 연약하지만 그러나 우리가 모두 기억하고 역사의 아픔을 치유하는 데 동참하겠다는 뜻으로 함께 동참하시기를 원하신다면 나가실 때 제가 밖에서 나누어 드리도록 하겠습니다.
So someone in front of me said that we should not forget what had happened in order for the history not to repeat itself. So what we are engaging in Korea is to wear this Forget Me Not badge that I am wearing right now in order for us to remember what had happened, what atrocities were committed to the human being in during the World War II, during the Sakhalin, how people were forcibly taken away to the concentration camp and labor camp, and how people had to suffer from atomic bomb and so on, and how the war crimes were committed in various wars. So we have to remember in order to change what was done. So I know it's not a huge step, but if you would like to participate in this Forget Me Not movement, I would be very glad to hand out you these small badges if you're interested on your way out.
네, 올해만도 위안부 할머니가 16분이 돌아가시고 지금 63분, 63분만 남아 계신데 정말 하루하루 지나는 것이 억장이 무너지듯이 슬픕니다. 우리 할머니 두 분 건강하셔서 오래도록 사시면서 일본이 처절하게 반성할 때까지 건강하시기 바라고요. 오늘 이 자리 마련해 주신 모든 분들께 감사를 드립니다. 고맙습니다.
This year alone, 16 survivors of the comfort women passed away. We only have 63 survivors remaining in Korea. So day by day, as time passes on, it is really urgent issue, and I feel sadder that whenever we lose another comfort woman survivor. So I hope Ms. Yi and Ms. Lee to live healthy and long, to see your own eyes the day that Japanese government truly apologize to you for what happened. So, and I would like to thank you all to make this great event happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Kim. Now we would like to acknowledge the sponsors and supporters for this event. Without the sponsors' support, we cannot have this event tonight. First, I would like to introduce, just raise your hand, and then we may not have any time to hand over this mic to the sponsors. We wanted to deliver give this a chance to speak up, but because of the time constraint, we cannot have that. First, Dr. Esther Lee, who is the board chair of the Korean American Voters Council. She's up here. And Dr. Gyo Kim. Yeah, without he bridged Korean American Voters Council and Holocaust Center. Without his efforts, we cannot have this event. And Professor Byung-Gun Min, who is the Research Center for Overseas Koreans. Yeah, you see here. And we also have Mr. Haemin Chung, who is a board chair of the Research Center. And then we have Mr. Uchon Kwak. Where is he? Oh, yeah, he's back there. Yeah. He's the president of Korean Apparel Manufacturers Association of Greater New York. And we also have Mr. Seon Kim. He's also back there. He's the chairperson of the Chungcheongdo Association of New York. And also Mr. Kang-won Lee. Yeah, he's also back there. He's from the same organization. And we also have a big supporter, Mr. Yong-Soo Lee, the president of the Korean American Association of Queens. Mr. Yong-Soo Lee, I cannot find him. Oh, yeah, I think he's in outside. Mr. Jae-bok Choi, who is the board chair of the Korean American Association of Queens. Oh, yeah, he also in outside. I think he rushed to the Holocaust Center to see the art exhibition there. Yeah, and yeah. Now, Dr. Fu will announce about the internship program.
I liked it when you said Dr. Kim. I'd like to call up two of our students who are with us tonight. David Córdoba, you want to come up, David? And Mauricio Moreno. These are a group of two students that belong to a group that has grown over the past 6 years. Each year, we at the Kupferberg Holocaust Center select a dozen students each semester, And these students, on their time, not during regular class schedule, get together, we study about the Holocaust in great detail, and then we learn how one goes about interviewing a Holocaust survivor. And it's very intense. It's not simply saying, tell me about the Holocaust. We then, when they're ready, match them with a large number of our Holocaust survivors. If you take a look behind me, I'd like to introduce you to some of them. Jane Kybell, Esther Katz, Mr. and Mrs. Gabor Gross, Herta Zauberman, Anita Weisbord, and you've already heard from Hanny Liebman and Ethel Katz, and standing at the other end is Elena Berkovitz. All of these women are Holocaust survivors. They work as volunteers at the Holocaust Center. They speak in classes, and they serve to work with our students to give them a background of what took place in the Holocaust. But what happens to these students, and there are 12 of them this semester, but many of them have class now, and many of them said they have finals coming up and they couldn't make it tonight. These two gentlemen become insurance policies to these people over here, because what their function is not simply to document the story and go on to the next step or the next course, wherever they're going to be. They assume a legal obligation and their moral obligation. And their obligation is, and they have to tell this to their survivor, that after they go ahead and after they have interviewed the survivor, their obligation is that 5 years from the time they have interviewed that survivor, they have to tell that survivor's story to someone wherever they are, whomever they're with. And it's a way of constantly moving that story so they will not forget. And these two young men, if you want to see something absolutely amazing, come to the Holocaust Center on January 3rd at noon. When you see these young men, come in with their survivors and introduce them. Gentlemen, thank you. Now, this is one of these announcements that you wait your life for to make. And we have developed an amazingly close and productive partnership with the Korean American Voters Council. Not only have we worked together, but we become friends, and we know each other intimately. When we broach the idea of having this exhibit, I always say, well, what's the next step? You have the exhibit, you put the message out there, what do you do next? And I suggested the idea that if we have an internship program where our students interview Holocaust survivors to propagate their memory, to keep their memory alive, and to keep their story from being forgotten, why can't we do the same thing to the large number of Asian citizens living in our borough who are victims during World War II, and not only from Korea, but from the many other organizations. And I mentioned this to Chae-Jin Park, and he said, as he always does, let me think about it. And 2 weeks ago, he tells me that there is going to be a Korean TV camera crew showing up at the Holocaust Center. Could you have some of your survivors there? And they interviewed me, and they interviewed two of the survivors with the purpose of taking the message that we were delivering and broadcasting it throughout the United States on Korean TV and in Korea itself. And I said to myself, you know you're working at the Kupferberg Holocaust Center at Queensborough Community College, where they have someone who's Jewish going on Asian TV to convince Koreans to support a Holocaust Center in Bayside, Queens. But what has happened is they have asked me to announce tonight that they will accept the responsibility that comes with the funding and the production of an internship program for students at Queensborough Community College to gain an insight what happened to the Asian generation of World War II. And now the grandparents or great-grandparents, so we're extremely proud of that. And Chae-Jin, it's great having you as a partner. Thank you. Now, one of the people I would like to introduce tonight as part of bringing this portion to a close is a good friend of mine. Has the title of Director of a Holocaust Center, the Metro West Holocaust Center in South New Jersey. I'm not sure what town. South New Jersey, but we've gotten to know each other quite well because we're in the same line of work. We meet each other quite often. And what is unique about Barbara is when I told her what we were doing, she says, oh, I've been to Korea. I've been with the Comfort Women. I was even at the House of Sharing, and I'd like you to have me speak tonight. So Barbara, please come up.
Thank you, Arthur, and it's a privilege to be here with all of you tonight, and especially with our survivors of the Japanese occupation and of the Holocaust. Kanji is the Japanese word for comfort women, but it's I hate the word comfort, the phrase comfort women, because it really puts a very pretty gloss on what's a very ugly and vicious and brutal act, an act that occurs at any time of war, but an act that doesn't always take war to happen. I had the great privilege of being in China and in Korea last summer with Alpha New Jersey and Alpha Toronto. And they are an organization that is determined to teach about what happened and to get the Japanese government to acknowledge what they did. It was a pretty grueling 2.5 weeks of travel and learning in a very hot China and a very rainy Korea. In fact, it was the worst flooding that in over 100 years in Korea when I was there, when we were there as a group. Among the sites that I saw were the comfort station, a place where the laboratories for biological warfare took place, and also the House of Sharing. But the most chilling sight for me was the museum in Nanjing, the museum that commemorated the massacre of Nanjing. And the reason that it was so chilling was not because it was a good museum that did its job in commemorating that terrible event in history, but because of the people that were going through the museum, particularly young children. And there are millions that go through that museum each year. And what I realized was that these children were coming away with a hatred for the Japanese. A hatred that's well-deserved because the Japanese have never acknowledged what they did. But nevertheless, it is a hatred. And it will, if the Japanese don't do something about their refusal to acknowledge the terrible crimes they committed during the occupation, a hatred that will bloom into terrible, terrible things. So why the Japanese don't do that is beyond me. It's completely beyond me. The documentation of what they did exists. As I said, I was to a house that had been turned into a comfort station. And it was a terrible thing to see because I did feel the presence of the ghosts. I knew what had happened there decades ago, and it was a terrible, terrible thing to experience. And I completely agree that all the comfort stations that still exist should be turned into memorials and to places where education takes place, education against violence of women and of children and of men, because that also happens when rape occurs. I was very honored to be part of the protest in front of the Japanese embassy in Seoul. It was the only time in all of the protests that there were no harmony there because of the terrible flooding that was occurring. But I did speak there, and what I said there, I will say again to you, that when one meets a witness, one becomes a witness. I met witnesses to the terrible atrocities the Japanese committed, and I am their witness. And I will continue to be their witness for as long as I live. Because when there is an injustice to anyone, anywhere, there is injustice everywhere, as Martin Luther King Jr. said. And that injustice must be addressed. And I was very glad to come in and see Holocaust and Comfort Women's survivors calling for justice together, because it's only by banding together that we can create the protest that will bring the justice. And I want to tell you that I heard from my colleagues in Toronto, and tomorrow there will be a protest in front of the Japanese embassy in Ottawa, and there will be over 1,000 people attending that protest. Many of them my colleagues in Canada who were witnesses to the witnesses. So I ask all of you to be witnesses. I thank the witnesses who spoke because I deal with Holocaust every day and with Holocaust survivors every day. I know that when one recounts a trauma, it's not like telling an ordinary story, it's reliving it, and it's very, very painful. And so we are very, very grateful to you for doing that. And we will be your witnesses, and we will make the Japanese admit their mistakes and repent them and bring justice to all. Thank you.
We have two more people we need to introduce, but Mr. Yong Hyun Baek and then Akiko, and then he will donate some bunjae. It's bunjae in Japanese, but it's bunjae in Korean. He will donate this.
Tonight it looks like everybody is sad mood, but except me. I knee down, and the young lady corsages one by one. So I'm so happy today. Very pretty young lady, and I knee down one by one. This bunjae is symbolic of a comfort woman, 15 years old one, and 3 years designed, and we make like that. Give to the our Holocaust Center, adopt sometime over next spring. I have two not over here. One is sorrow, deep sorrow of a comfort woman, and the other one is a family of pain. So it will be untied after Japanese government to say sorry, and then they by their hand and untie, and then we will untie second one. So we will wait. I come tonight together with Dr. Aiko. They are not like their great-grandfather. They are so nice. We have to remember very nice, lots of Japanese people around us. So our next generation will be better change, I'm very sure. Thank you very much, Dr. Flo. Please adopt our. Thank you very much for your support.
Thank you.
Aiko, who is Japanese, and she wanted to deliver just short message in Korean.
지금 제가 미국에서 아까 좀 얘기를 했지만 교사로 한국말하고 일본어로 가르치고 있습니다. 저는 직접 전부한테 아무것도 할 수는 없지만 그래도 제가 여기서 가르치면서 미국 학생, 일본 학생, 한국 학생, 중국 학생 여러 세계에서 온 학생들한테 역사나 언어를 통해서 할머니들이 경험했던 아픔을 가르칠 수 있으면 제가 할 수 있는 걸 다 하겠습니다. 오늘 감사합니다.
I am a teacher teaching Japanese and Korean in the United States. I do not have a lot of power to tell Japanese government what to do, but through my teaching, I can talk to my students who are Korean, who are Japanese, who are Chinese and American about what had happened, so that and so I will keep trying to remember what had happened and to teach the younger generation what had happened. Thank you very much.
Now I would like to introduce Mr. Steve Cavallo, who is the artist who organized the art exhibition at the Holocaust Center. Please welcome Steve Cavallo.
Erin, can you come up? Yeah, very short. I could speak for an hour on this. I'm going to speak for 30 seconds. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to have this show. One of the reporters asked us earlier, how often do we do paintings concerning on the subject of comfort women? Jung-un and myself have been doing it for 4 years. We've done very few paintings other than paintings about comfort women. For those people, unfortunately, who'll never pick up a book and read a story about comfort women, for those who didn't attend tonight, hopefully they'll walk past the paintings and wonder what the paintings are about. At this point, with a small audience, all we could do is hope that the press doesn't do a blurb on this, but does a full-page story that makes this a major story, because there's so many more people. We think of this all the time with an art exhibit. You may get 100, 200 people attend an art exhibit, but whatever the reviews are, whatever the press coverage is, so many more people can hear the message. And like I said, this has been a message that's taken 4 years of our lives, and we're not stopping now. We're continuing. Jung-un just got finished showing in New Orleans. Before that, she was showing in Texas. We have shows traveling back down to Texas. Shin Young-an and Erin Yoon. Erin's doing some work for Korea Magazine, and I'd just like to introduce them and then invite everybody back for refreshments. Shin Young-an, Jung-un Lee, and Erin Yoon. And again, it's just been a blessing that the four of us have met each other, and we've been working on this project. Thank you so much.
And now I'd like to invite all of you to the Kupferberg Holocaust Center to see the exhibit that is there and join us for refreshments. You can also watch a radio hookup between Queens and Seoul, South Korea, regarding this event. Thank you all for coming.
Right, thank you. That's the first session. So please go back to the Holocaust Center. There will be different events going on. There will be petitions to the Japanese government. Please sign on the petitions. We will deliver the petitions on Friday to the permanent mission of Japan to the United Nations. We will hand deliver the petitions. Please sign on the petitions.
잠깐만요. 다시.